What up, boxing world? JF Sports. Well, some of you guys have messaged me and asked me to make my pick and prediction of the upcoming Miguel Cotto versus Saul Canelo Alvarez. Well, first off, I want to tell you guys that this is one of those fights where, to some people, it's really hard to pick it, and to some or others, it's quite simple. Now, to be quite honest with you guys, I think that this fight is not gonna be what we expect. You know, I don't think so. Um, I'm not saying that the fight is not gonna be interesting. That's not what I'm saying. I don't think that the fight is gonna be explosive though, as De La Hoya has been saying, as far as two Mack trucks colliding. I don't think that's the case. Now, do I think that the fight would be somewhat exciting? Yes, I do. But I just don't think that is going to be as big as some people make it out to be. I am going to watch the fight. Yes, I am going to purchase and support Canelo and Cotto. But I just don't see how these two fighters could actually be explosive. And I'm going to give you guys a reason why, in my own opinion, before I make my picks, as you guys have requested. Now, as we know, Miguel Cotto and Canelo has been knocking out their opponents. All right? And I think it's fair to say that their past, let's just put it this way, their past three opponents were not quite really at their level, you know. Um, you can't say that Kirkland was actually, you know, at his prime or was even competitive against Canelo. That was overhyped. You know, you can't say that Cotto actually dominated Martinez. I mean, you know, the fight, one of those fights that I mentioned, uh, with this two, they weren't really a test, so to speak, to try to base it off of there and try to make something out of the Canelo Cotto fight. I don't think so. I would have loved to see Cotto and Canelo actually fought you know, some much solid fighters, so I can actually say, all right, you know, or make my predictions quite easy. But like I said, my prediction for this one is not, you know, it sucks to say, and I'm sure a lot of you guys would disagree with me, but I don't think that this fight is going to be that explosive. You know what I'm saying? That dynamite. I mean, obviously, we can hype the fight up. The fans can do that. And to try to entice our dog in the fight to, you know, gonna want to fight aggressive that much more, right? Obviously, if Canelo hears that, oh man, there's a lot of people rooting for me to try to knock out Canelo, obviously that's gonna pump him up a little bit more. But on the other hand, you know, Miguel Cotto, he's been in the game quite a while. You know what I'm saying? He's not gonna go out there and be reckless. I don't think so. On the other hand, Canelo is young. Yes, he has the potential to be very aggressive. He has the potential to knock out his opponent, you know, first 2-3 rounds or something like that, right? And we've seen it. But you know, if you guys seen Canelo's past opponents, he didn't really come out aggressive. You know, he actually tried to calculate his opponent. And what makes us think that Canelo is actually going to come out there and be explosive on the first round and try to knock out Cotto and try to wipe him out on the first round or the first 2 rounds? No, he's going to try to calculate, obviously, Cotto, you know, and see what he does, you know. And that's the same thing for Cotto. I don't think that the first round is going to be as explosive as a lot of you guys are saying. That's just my opinion. You guys have yours. You guys jot those comments down below in the comment section. You guys let me know or let us know. But in my own opinion, I don't think this fight's going to be that explosive. I mean, it's going to be interesting. Don't get me wrong. I will, like I said, watch it and buy it and support it. No problem there. But as they say, it's a mega fight, bigger than the Pacquiao Mayweather fight, even though that fight was a dud to a lot of people. I don't think so. I don't think it's quite that. I don't think it's gonna be that quite exciting. You know. I think that both fighters would be reluctant to try to knock out each other early. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we can hear it from both trainers, both camps, that this is what they training on, and punching power and knockout abilities, and try to end the game early. I don't think so, man. I think this fight, to be quite honest, in my own opinion, it would go 12 rounds. It'd go all 12 rounds. Do I think there's gonna be a knockdown in this fight? That's tough. If you ask me, I would say no. I don't think there's gonna be a knockout nor knockdown in this fight. I don't think so. I know my prediction is probably odd and quite different from a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? You got a lot of boxing channels that make their predictions already, and some of you guys have made your predictions on the comment section. And I've read it and I've seen it. It just, I mean, I could be wrong. Like I said, this is just my opinion, so I could be right or I could be wrong. It could go either way. As far as the fight, do I think it's 50-50? In my own opinion, in my own humble opinion, I don't think it's 50-50. Initially, a lot of people said that. Initially, I think I've even thought about it, or said it to you guys before. But as we go along, and actually, I've been watching Canelo fights for the past couple days, and Cotto fight prior to that one. You know what I'm saying? I was going back to the tapes and stuff like that when I'm not doing anything, just going on YouTube, and don't get me wrong, Cotto has improved from when he finally got with Freddie Roach. And Canelo, yes, after that Mayweather loss, he has improved. You know what I'm saying? He has more matured. He has been more, I should say, smarter, if that makes sense. But without any further ado, I am picking Miguel Cotto to win the fight. I think the fight is not 50-50. If I was to put it in percentage perspective, I would give it 70-30. I think 30% chance that Canelo would win the fight. And that's only if he actually knocks down or knocks out Miguel Cotto and doesn't get back up. Do I think Cotto would knock down or knock out Canelo? No, I don't think so. But I think Miguel Cotto would win the fight via unanimous decision, 12 rounds. Now, some of the reasons, I'll give you guys a few. I mean, we can go on and try to, make up stuff or say stuff to try to hype up Cotto or Canelo, for that matter, just for us to say that, one would win. But let's go with Canelo. All right, I'll go with Canelo. Canelo, what else is to say about this kid? I mean, he's got a lot of fights. To be at his age, he. If you guys go back and you guys remember, Canelo, he's been fighting since he was young, very young, as a matter of fact, for a fighter of his age right now, with that many fights and that many KOs and only lost once. I think that he's got somewhat of a veteranship, so to speak, but he's still young. You know what I'm saying? It does matter. Age does matter, in my opinion, and experience does matter in all aspects. I mean, we've seen a lot of fighters that are in great shape with great punching powers, but it's the smarts that kills them. You know what I'm saying? I thought that Canelo's loss to Mayweather, even though he has improved a lot, I saw it as if Canelo fights somebody that's actually has somewhat of a veteranship and smarts in the ring, I think Canelo could be outboxed. You know what I mean? I don't think that he could be knocked down or knocked out, because this kid has a lot of stamina. He's got dedication and determination to actually stand up. You know what I'm saying? You gotta hit Canelo really, really hard and on the button to even try to knock him down. It's not gonna happen. This kid is solid. I don't think Cotto would knock him down at all. I see this fight as Miguel Cotto throwing 1-2, 1-2. You know what I'm saying? I see Canelo try to throw big punches maybe in the later rounds, maybe in desperation or somewhat like that. Try to end it, because Cotto probably gonna be jabbing him. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, Cotto probably throw 1-2, 1-2 here and there, or you know what I'm saying. A lot of calculations. I see a lot of calculations in this both in this fight. Come Saturday night, because, for example, Canelo knows. Cotto has veteranship. He's been in the game for a long time. He's fought almost everybody that he needs to fight, to include Pacquiao and Mayweather. And we've seen him perform. We have. There's no secret of how, Cotto is gonna perform against Canelo. He's not gonna perform, like how he performed against Mayweather and Pacquiao. I don't think so. I mean, he's gotten better, but still, Cotto is Cotto. He's never really changed. The only thing he got a little bit smarter, more smarter, if that makes sense. When he got with Freddie Roach. But other than that, Cotto is Cotto. You know what I'm saying? He's a good boxer. He's a good fighter. He's intelligent, and I think that even though Canelo's still young, in this past couple years, I saw him, somewhat reluctant of being aggressive, unless he knocks down a guy and trying to finish him off. I get that. That's every fighter. That's every boxer, in the game. Every fighter that's knocked down his opponent obviously is going to be aggressive, if the bell didn't save the opponent and try to knock him down, try to finish him off. I mean, that's everybody. That's no problem there. But as far as like, the first round or second or third round without any knockdowns or something like that, I don't see Canelo being aggressive against Cotto. He knows Cotto is dangerous, and even though I think that Canelo may think that Cotto could knock him down, I don't think so. I think Cotto could punch Canelo with a very big shot, and it wouldn't knock him down. It hurt him, but it wouldn't knock him down. I don't think so. I don't think there'll be knockdowns or knockout in this fight. Now, if Canelo hits Cotto right in the button, I think Cotto would go down. But like I said, only, and I think that's a very small percentage, and that's the reason why I'm saying there's not gonna be no knockdowns or knockout in this fight, because I think Cotto is smart enough to try to avoid those. He'd run, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? He'd run, he'd circle around, he'd jab, and he'd defend himself. You know what I'm saying? I think that Cotto would win via points. I think that Cotto would land some good shots against Canelo, body shots, and that's the same. I think Canelo could potentially, or probably, or highly likely would land some uppercuts against Miguel Cotto. But I think that's what it is. I think that's all gonna be there is to it. Is a boxing match. It's a calculation fight, so to speak. And I think that, yes, I'm not saying that it ain't gonna be no interesting. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that there's not gonna be interesting rounds. There is gonna be boring rounds. I guarantee you that. That's just every fight. That's no secret there. But I think that the veteranship, so to speak, and the talent of Cotto, even though, Saul Canelo Alvarez is a very good boxer, and I applaud him for taking this fight and try to end Cotto. I don't know, man. I've tried to play this in my head over and over, and like I said, you guys got your own predictions, and these are only mine. To leave you guys with this, I'll leave you guys with this. My final prediction of this fight is that there will be no knockdowns, no knockout in this fight. Let's just put it that way. I think it'd go all 12 rounds. I think the scorecards would be somewhat close, like maybe 115, 113, somewhere around there. But I think that Cotto wins it via unanimous decision. I don't see it. I just don't see it. I think Canelo would get out boxed now. You know what I'm saying? But that's how I see this fight. I think it's gonna be a good fight, but it ain't gonna be no explosive dynamite, two Mack trucks colliding, as a lot of people have made it out to be. And De La Hoya is very vocal about this. And I think what's gonna happen is Cotto is gonna be, somewhat tagged to fight Golovkin next, and probably not gonna happen because of the weight situation. Now, I think that gives I think that might, if Canelo loses to Miguel Cotto, I think that might give Canelo a reason to actually try to agree to the weight that Golovkin's try to make him um, be at in order to fight him. You know what I'm saying? Try to, you know what I'm saying? Because if Canelo wins the fight, you know what I'm saying? Because it's possible. I mean, anybody can win the fight. If Canelo wins the fight, then he has that right or that confidence to try to somewhat demand. No, I'm not gonna fight you, Golovkin. I'm not gonna fight you at 160. I want to fight you at 154, 155, 156, whatever. Right? I don't think if Canelo wins the fight, I don't think he'd ever agree to 160. Now, if he loses, well, that's like, you know what? Okay, fine. I lost the last one. I think potentially we could see. I think we would see Canelo and Golovkin in the ring later on down the road, but the fight and the problem that we got on hand right now is Cotto Canelo, and I think it's gonna be a good fight. I think there's gonna be some interesting rounds and there's gonna be some boring rounds, but I think it's gonna be a calculation fight. You know, just because it's a calculation fight doesn't mean that there ain't gonna be no power punches thrown. Now that's not what I'm saying. You know, I just you know, the way I saw it, and I've been watching this. There's two fighters, their previous fights, and somewhat really looking at them. I've actually slow mo some of the punches and the jabs and the and the blockage, so to speak. The defense. I mean, I see Canelo being patient, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? And I see Cotto probably wait for Canelo to throw the first punch. Well, like I said, that's just my prediction. I think overall the fight's gonna be a boxing match, and not saying that there ain't gonna be no power punches thrown, but I think Miguel Cotto is well aware and well capable of try to defend himself against Canelo, because Canelo does have power. Canelo is capable of dismantling his opponent in the early rounds, but I don't think it's gonna be the case. I don't think Canelo is gonna be in a rush to try to knock out Cotto. Cotto is a different animal. You know what I'm saying? He's not Kirkland. You know what I'm saying? And that's vice versa. You know what I'm saying? Canelo is not Martinez. He's not Guerrero. You know what I'm saying? So I think both fighters know that that each other has talent, each other has experience, and each other has the capability to adjust it to situations and knock each other out early. But I don't think that's gonna be the case. Like I said over and over, I don't think there's gonna be no knockdowns or knockout in this fight. I think it'll be 12 rounds, unanimous decision, Miguel Cotto. And yes, a lot of you guys probably comment down below and you know what I'm saying, and say what the F, you know what I'm saying, because this is probably one of the oddest predictions I've ever made. You know what I'm saying? It's somewhat weird because the fight of Cotto Canelo is been hyped. You know what I'm saying? It could be hyped up more or even higher, but the way Canelo Cotto is, they don't really talk. They don't trash talk much. You know what I'm saying? So I think the actually, to be quite honest with you guys, off topic a little bit, I think the Cotto Canelo fight could be much more hyped up. You know what I'm saying? I think it could generate much more than what it's gonna generate Saturday night, because simple fact, man, these two don't talk. They don't trash talk. They're almost friends with each other, but they're not. I'm just saying that there's a lot of professionalism in both fighters. You know what I'm saying? Canelo, Cotto, they're both professionals. To be quite honest with you guys, the way I saw this coming, Cotto has been very calm. You know what I'm saying? He's been very calm. I mean, and Canelo is the one who's a little bit more aggressive than Cotto. They're on their face-offs and showdowns and stuff like that. But other than that, man, it's just, I think it's gonna be a good fight, but it ain't gonna be no great fight. I don't think it's gonna be a mega fight. But I think it's okay. You know what I'm saying? I would support it. I like Cotto and Canelo, so I mean, obviously if Canelo wasn't fighting Cotto, I'd probably favor him against anybody. Anybody that he'd fight except for Golovkin, and I would have to calculate that also, and do my analysis. But as far as Canelo fighting Cotto, I'd have to favor Cotto. Um, and you guys, if you guys follow my channel, you guys know I very very seldom talk about Cotto. I don't, you know what I'm saying. I'm not a big Cotto fan. You know what I'm saying. I'm not a. If you really want to know, I'm more of Canelo fan than a Cotto fan. But for some odd reason, man, I'm not gonna be biased and be like other fighters and just because Canelo. I mean, to be quite honest, there's a lot more people that's rooting for Canelo to win the fight, and that's no secret, and you guys know that. Because he's young, he's hungry. He demolished Kirkland in his last fight. I mean, you know what I'm saying? But you can't base it off on that. He's not fighting Kirkland anymore. He's fighting Miguel Cotto. You know what I'm saying? Even though I'm not a very big Miguel Cotto fan, I think that I think Cotto would win. Well, gave you guys my prediction. Gave you guys my thoughts. You guys give me yours. Please comment down below. And as always, thank you for watching. JF Sports.